Well, I'm the great-granddaughter of former U.S. President Dwight David Eisenhower. I've always had a very strong calling and mission, and I think it has a lot to do with, in a way, continuing his legacy or doing certain things that he wasn't able to do as far as helping us to understand what the extraterrestrials are all about in relationship to connecting with our governments and contacting our governments. I also have my own unique journey, which is very complementary, that has to do with the balancing of the masculine and feminine on the planet, and helping people to understand a lot of the programmings and conditionings that have been passed down generation to generation that has kept us from being able to access our greater abilities. And along the way, I discovered that there's a connection between the two. Certain negative ET beings that have compromised us, and many, many benevolent beings that are here to assist us in our awakening, which has a lot to do with upgrading our DNA and expanding into our multidimensional embodiments, and recognizing that we are on a multidimensional planet and that there is all sorts of life out there. Well, this planetary body was seeded with a 13D monadic core. Basically, we used to exist in higher dimensions on Atlantis and Lemuria, and it sort of acted like the right brain and the left brain. Everything was very much in balance, and we had very powerful abilities. We had much more of our DNA turned on, which is now dormant. And because we're in a free will universe, things started to get out of balance, and it led to catastrophes and huge floods. And what ended up happening is we collapsed into a lower harmonic universe that brought us into a lower density. And then we as humans, as we know it, are not functioning at our full DNA capacity. We're functioning at like maybe a second strand or third strand. And so when this new creation was happening, when we sank into this lower density, it was seeded as an ascension planet to help to guide us along the way, so that eventually, during this window period, we would have the opportunity to expand and to blossom in our consciousness. And so even religion touches upon it when we think about the tree of knowledge, the tree of good and evil, which we chose to partake in. Even though I don't follow religious teachings, the symbolism is more connected to our DNA, and how duality gives us a free will choice to choose to advance ourselves or choose to stay limited. And the spiritual component has a lot to do with this window period, because we're in alignment with the galactic plane, and the window period is called a stellar activation cycle between the years 2000 and 2017, when the natural stargates on the planet open, which connect us to these other dimensions, and it's directly linked to our DNA. And when we expand ourselves, we are assisting the planet, and as the planet has this natural phenomena that's happening, it affects us. And so certain control agendas do not want us to ascend, because they won't be able to make money off of us, they won't be able to feed off of us. And so there is a negative agenda, but we just simply have to understand the game. And this is the thing with like transhumanism, and if we don't develop spiritually, we'll be linked much more into an artificial intelligence system, which would advance us only on an intellectual level, or keep us, in a sense, controlled. And this is what this agenda wants to bring us into. And so we don't want technology to supplement us too much. It doesn't mean that we give up on technology, but it's about finding a balance between spirituality and technology, because the whole reason these advanced civilizations collapsed in our ancient history was because of the polarization of too much focus on the technology and not enough on the spirituality. And that has to do with the negative ego mindset of some of these dark controllers. Well, I mean, this is a lot of why I do what I do, because I mean, the elitists or the dark cabal or whatever you want to call it has been hoarding these advanced technologies and using it for their own benefit. When I feel these, and I know I'm not alone in this, these technologies should be used to assist those that are in need, to feed those that are hungry, and to go towards assisting our planetary body in healing. The problem is the mindset of these individuals doesn't think about the whole, it only thinks of themselves. And it doesn't make any sense that they have such advanced technology that can regrow limbs and heal cancer and cure all sorts of things. And we see people struggling day to day, like you say, and the difference is unbelievable. And the imbalance is the same kind of imbalance that we might experience within ourselves because we were born into it. And it's very easy to be thrown off because of what we were born into. And so we have to do that extra work on ourselves to stand up for our rights and to heal from these programmings and conditionings, and to also develop a stronger sense of empowerment so that we don't let them get away with it anymore. So I like to consider myself a voice for those that don't have a voice, that need assistance. Well, I mean, a lot of people call it the 99% to the 1%. And the thing is, if we all look to each other and we work together and unify, there's not going to be a 1%. They're going to be pretty much starved because they rely on us giving our power away to them to even exist. And so those of us that have the ways and means to, bring about justice and expose these things can help those that are very compromised and are in, serious suffering and poverty. Well, I just think we need leaders that care about us and care about the planet, and we don't have those leaders. And so I don't think protesting is going to help because they use that against us, because that would push us into a police state where they will find some reason to compromise us more. I think we need to starve the system and choose who we feel confident about, and also understand that we're all leaders. So we don't want to vote these people into office. They have the ability to terraform Mars and actually, create a lot of life there. They have those technologies. They have colonies there too, and what they want to do is compromise us here on Earth, create a new world order, or create a genocide plan to extinguish most of the human race, so that they can come back and rule it.
Come back? You mean
from Mars and maybe come back to Earth.
You think there are people over there?
There's already people on Mars, yeah. There are colonies there. Oh, they're going back and forth. They have been since the 60s. Right, no. Oh, they don't tell us this stuff. So, because they're selfish, and it's all about them, and they have an agenda, and that's why I refused to go, because I was recruited in 2006, and I was like, something's not right here, and just like you, I don't want to go to, I love this planet, and we need to take care of the needs of the people here, and we need to expose everything, and we need to make informed decisions together, and not be manipulated by these leaders who create these facades, which is shown to us in the news, these like NASA, and I'm not saying all the individuals involved are false, but they don't tell us about the secret space program. They don't tell us about why these wars are happening. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the control of these stargates that they want to keep from opening, and a lot of it is, of course, the greed and power. And so they take that greed and power off planet, and that way they're not affected by all the different assaults and toxins that they're throwing at us, and they have a breakaway civilization just for them, while we're dealing with chemtrails, weather modification, and Fukushima, and the pollution of our waters, and
like the HARP project.
The HARP, hello, yes. Weather modification, they can create superstorms, and but they're not going to succeed in this. Well, they want to, it's either extinction or it's...
The population. That's a good...
Yeah, they want to shrink...
That's a good idea.
Well, I mean, there is a lot of people, but I think nature and just the planetary body, which is an organism with its own consciousness, can create its own balance, because that's, natural disasters can do that, but you can fit the whole world population in the country of New Zealand, and everybody can fit. I mean, there is enough room, but people who are deciding the fate of humanity shouldn't be the ones that are keeping us from the medicine and the cures that we need. It should be more based on nature deciding than humans that are corrupt. And the thing is, we're in a multidimensional cosmos, so we're not all going to be packed into this one Earth. We have the ability to move on to other star systems and other places, and they're trying to stop our potential from even being able to do that. So it's either extinction or it's New World Order. And the reason they're doing this is because the main group responsible for the negative agenda compromise their DNA on purpose, so that they can maintain control. And that's part of, like, in biblical terms, that would be part of Lucifer's rebellion. In exopolitics terms, it would be these lower extraterrestrial races like the Dracos and the beings from Orion, who are service to self-orientated. And because they traded in their DNA in order to maintain control, because they didn't want to heal, they can't connect directly to spirit, which means that they rely on us to feed on. And without us, they actually would perish. And so they have advanced technologies to keep them alive, and their life cycle has to do with using our energy to power up those technologies, because our free energy is being used as a weapon against us, but they harvest it and use it for themselves. And so in a way, it's for their survival that they do it to us, but it starts off with that corrupt greed mentality that wants domination and control. That's what got them into the mess. But now they rely on us and these technologies to keep them alive, whereas us as humans, we have direct connection to spirit. That's why we have the potential to ascend. And so we just have to be careful of the traps so that we don't give our free will away to them, and so that we can see the deceptions, because we can only agree to it. They can't take it from us unless we agree to it. And so if people are consciously voting these people into office and allowing themselves to be manipulated, that's where the danger is. But once we wake up, we're free of the programmings, and we can actually handle the assaults and the toxins, because our DNA is advanced enough when we upgrade it to be able to handle all of it.